Welcome to the channel. My name is Ama. I want to thank you guys for tuning in on today. And today I'm going to be sharing with you some similarities that we have between those of us who were dispersed to the Carolinas, coastal Carolinas, or the islands of the South Carolina, sea islands of South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, and North Carolina, but particularly those who are on the coast and the islands between Jacksonville, North Carolina, and Jacksonville, Florida. Okay, and that area is known to those of us who are Gullah Geechee as Gullah Geechee land. All right, places on the coast where you will find people who are known as Gullahs and Geechees. All right, so I am going to share with you guys. You see here, I'm tuning into these white black-eyed peas, right? White beans, but they have black centers, so we call those black-eyed peas. And these are red, which we call field peas. Some people call them cow peas, but we call them at home field peas. Okay, now you may be Gullah and you may say we call them something else. All right, but today I'm going to show you the similarities that we have with those on the African continent. I actually purchased these beans from an African store in the U.S. It's a product of Ghana, as you can see. And I'm going to use it to make what we call Gullah Hoppin John. Now, most Americans have heard of Hoppin John because it's something that we eat on New Year's, but it's mostly cooked in America with black-eyed peas and white rice, okay, where the peas is cooked separately and then it's put on top of the rice. But Gullah Hoppin John, we don't do that. We mix the red bean, all right, inside the rice, and it's similar to, if not the same as, what is called Waakye in Ghana, right? So Waakye is a famous or a popular food in Ghana. It's eaten for breakfast. It's eaten any time of the day, but mostly for breakfast, all right? And so I'm going to use one onion. I'm going to use the red beans, and I'm going to use white rice. Although you see brown rice here, I'm actually writing over this video or voicing over this video. I did another share on another channel, and so I was speaking about the Daniel fast there and their options that they had. But on this particular video, I'm going to be using, or in this recipe, I used white rice, okay? And so white rice and the small red bean. Here I'm showing you that if you go to your store, do not get the big red bean, similar to those that you find on the international food aisle. Do not get the big one, get the small red bean, okay? And so in Ghana, Waakye, they often use the red leaf to turn the water red. But if you use the red bean, you won't need to do that. So I'm going to use the red bean and just that. I won't be using any baking soda. They often use the baking soda to help create a chemical reaction that releases the red from the leaf, or some people use potash to release the red from the leaf, but we won't be doing that. We'll just simply use the red bean. So I thank you guys for tuning in, and in the rest of the video you'll see me cooking. And this meal is, like I said, similar to what is known as Waakye in Ghana, and it's just another example of things that we brought over from the continent and traditions that are still carried out. Another is what they call jollof rice. We call in Gullah land red rice. Okay, so that's why I'm so surprised that many of you have never had red rice, and when you get here on the continent and you eat jollof rice, I'm very surprised that y'all never had red rice. You have been missing a lot, but I'm glad that you had the opportunity to enjoy it here on the continent. So stay tuned, and thanks guys for your support, and shalom. Okay guys, so what you're seeing right now is I've gone ahead and I'm sauteing some onions right now. Now, a lot of people do not put onions in their Hoppin John, but because this for me is how I do it, remember, please guys, please remember that your variety may be different, or the way you fix it and prepare it may be different. But particularly for those who are doing the Daniel fast, onions is good because it gives you a different flavor. And remember, the meat that we would normally put in, which my mom, when I was growing up, she used like beef oxtail. She would bake it first and get all that fat off, and then she would put it into the rice to give it some beef flavoring, okay? Now, if you can find some flavoring that does not have beef products in it or actual meat products, that's something that you may want to consider, all right? But I'm using onions, and I tell you what guys, onions gives it a pop that you would never imagine. It is so good. Alright, now I'm using this amount of onions because of the size and the amount that I'm going to make. I can't tell you how much I'm going to put in. I don't measure anything. You just know how much you're going to need, the portions that you're going to serve, and you just kind of wing it from there. All right. So I will next put in the beans, and I'm just going to, you know what? I'll just go ahead and add them in right now. All right. So I'm going to start adding in the beans. I'm going to saute this a bit, and then I'm going to add in the water. Now, in the final stages, I use either purified water or bottled water, and I do that at the end stage because during this cooking process, while those beans are cooking, that water's going to boil out 100 times. Okay, so you're cooking it just like you do with regular beans. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead. Forgive me, guys. I'm using one hand. I'm going to put in the bottled water. Give me just a minute. What you're going to see next is my dark countertop. And I'm pouring in right now in the water. So what I'm using is bottled water. It's 16.9 ounces. And that's not my countertop. That's actually my stove top, which is black. Okay, so you see here now, you see some oil that I used, and then you see the water that I've added in the onions. I'm going to let this cook. I'll be adding more water, so you're just going to prepare it just like you would do any bean. Let it cook until it's tender. When you see some floating on the top that should not, I've washed this thoroughly, but I tend to pick out the ones that float to the top, okay? Alright, so yeah. So I'm going to let this cook, and I can't tell you how long. I'm just going to let it cook until it's tender and meets my satisfaction, and then I will add in the rice. Okay, so I'll turn the heat up on this and let it get a boil, and then I'll turn it down and I'll be back. Okay guys, I'm not sure if you can see this. Remember that there is just a little oil residue. It may come up differently on camera, but it's leftover from the sauteed onions. But right now you can see that the water is completely red. It's red. It's red. All right, and so what's going to happen is when I put in the rice, it's going to turn the rice this color. All right, so just wanted to show you this really quick, and I am going to just let this finish cooking, and then I'll add the rice in later. Be back. Okay guys, before I put the lid on this, I wanted to show you now that I've added in the rice. I'm going to add a little bit more water, stir this up, but this is how it would look at the starting process of cooking these two together. Okay, so I just wanted to give you a look. So you see now that even the rice now is already starting to turn brown. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and turn this off and then put the water in and let this cook, and we'll be back again. God bless you all. Okay guys, this is nearing the final stage. You can see that, hopefully. The grains are nice and they're still formed. Let me try to zoom in on this. Hopefully you can see that. And they're not mushy or anything of that sort. And that has a lot to do with just knowing from instinct how much water to put in and not putting in too much water, and not stirring it as well. You know, you can stir too much and it'll make your rice really mushy, and you can use the wrong utensils and stir it, and it will also make the rice mushy. So you have to know which utensils to use depending on which pot you're using. And so so many things, you know, influence how the final dish comes out. So I'll let this steam, and I'll put the top back on and let it get, you know, some more moisture soaked in there. I'll stir it up. It's not burnt. It doesn't have that awful burnt bean or burnt Hoppin John or burnt Waakye smell from my friends in other places. It is cooked evenly, and it will be very, very, very delicious. All right, so I'll give it a few minutes, more minutes. Bye. Be right back. Okay guys, look at this. The steam is still coming off of this. So I'm going to try to adjust it so that you can see it while we're on here. I hope it comes off with the best color, because it's actually a dark brown, but through the camera here it's looking light brown, but it's very tasty. Adjust to your taste, you know, with the seasoning, and enjoy your time of prayer and fasting. And don't forget Isaiah's instruction to share your bread with others, okay? So God bless you, and I may be back with a delicious hibiscus and pineapple drink that you can drink during your transition after you come off of your Daniel fast, because remember, on the fast we're only drinking water. God bless you. Have a wonderful day.